I can't get enough.
And we're back. I will play that song every day of the season. Honestly, it's just so good. It's so refreshing. And even Priscilla, my guest, was like, yeah, it's literally gospel hip hop. It's R&B. Like, it's for everybody. And I feel like it's such a good way to start us off. I'm going to start us off again by saying that the opinions expressed in this live show are individual and are not necessarily representative of Spirit Live or Toronto Metropolitan University. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good morning/afternoon. My name is Selena, and I'm so grateful to be here with you today. And you're listening to the second episode of ChristianiTEA Season 2. Which is a big deal, guys. We made it. It's such an exciting time for Spirit Live because I'm back for a second season this spring, and I can't wait to dive deeper into so many topics. If you're watching us live right now, you might have seen I have some lovely women in the studio. I want to take a second to introduce them. So who are we starting with?
Oh, me?
Let's do Priscilla.
Okay, hi, I'm Priscilla. I go to the same school as Lena. I'm from TMU, Toronto Metropolitan University. I'm in creative industries, which is a program that kind of is about the intersection between creative companies and industries like music, fashion. It's so much fun, and I met Selena through one of the courses that we have together on pop culture. I am the admin manager for the Society of the Creative School. It's a student group that's associated with the faculty, the Creative School.
Amazing. Let's go over to Yadija.
Okay, so I'm Yadija. I go to York. I study civil engineering, and I'm all about business. I'm sorry, not business, buildings, math, physics. That's all me. I met Selena through her Instagram in season 1. I've been supporting, so I'm so happy to be here for her season 2, and I'm just so excited.
I love that. Thank you so much. Guys, honestly, the family that has come from ChristianiTEA is so amazing. Like Yadija was saying, like, I remember just seeing your profile, always liking, commenting, and it feels so good to know that something that started at TMU is reaching York University, is reaching Guelph Humber, it's reached George Brown, like all these different schools. And I love that we're able to connect in this way and build this womanhood. And I'm so excited for us. Thank you guys again. And for every girl that's listening right now, I want you to take a second and give yourself a pat on the back because it's Women's History Month. Woo! Finally, some celebration for the women. Like, I feel like obviously we're supposed to be celebrated every day, but it feels a little extra special this month. And for all the guys, make sure you're taking a second to celebrate the women in your life. Like you should be doing every day, but do something extra special for a woman that's impacted you. Today's episode is titled The Proverbs 31 Woman, and we're going to be talking all about what it means to be a woman of God, the standards that are set on women in the Bible and in the world, and dealing with modesty and beauty standards. I feel like that's a super huge thing for us. So it's definitely going to be a very full episode, but we're going to be moving quickly and with intention, and it's going to be amazing. Before that, let's just take a look at the verse of the day. So today's verse comes from Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, and I'm reading it in the NKJV translation. I typically take verses from like ERV or NLT, but for this verse, I felt like it made most sense to me in the NKJV. So it says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God." So I chose to take this verse because I feel like with the rebrand that I did for season 2, my tagline for this season is connecting women by grace through faith. And I feel like it's really what I've seen happen all throughout season 1. And I feel like that's what I want us to continue to do. And that connection that we're making isn't me. It's me magnifying God's glory through my words and through this show. And I'm excited for us to keep doing that and keep that spirit going. So take a second to reflect on that. I'm going to play our song of the day. It comes from an artist called Anatoria, and this song is called The Divide.
Skin at the bottom of my skin, clinging up onto me. Under all that, somewhere deep, deep, deep internally, I'm running away from it. Take it away from me. City, city, fine, fashion to the divide, the divide. Ain't no way to coincide. Kinda what I'm up on a closure. I'm grinding till I know it's over. I wanna wait to reply. Made my mind, we're destined to collide. Shaka, willing to fight until I know it's over. But so long I've been trying to defy you. Wish you were an outsider, but you emerged from deep, deep within me. Caged in a war, I'm solitary. Calling my con, don't get one on me. Stress, but it's my time, so please tell me it's over. Tell me it's over. City, city, fine, fashion to the divide, the divide. Ain't no way to coincide. Kinda what I'm up on a closure. I'm grinding till I know it's over. I wanna wait to reply. Made my mind, we're destined to collide. Shaka, willing to fight until I know it's over. Please tell me it's over. Tell me it's over. Please tell me it's over. Tell me it's over. I'm here to fight until I know it's over. It's time to take over me. Only my pride to take control of me. I got my mind on an eternity. So now it's time to get a new body. I guess it's time to get over me. Only my pride to take control of me. I got my mind on an eternity. Now it's time to get a new body.
What did we think?
It was fire.
You guys liked it?
really like it.
Added that to my playlist.
Let them know. We put people on here, okay? Yeah, for everyone that's watching, just in case you don't know, the playlist is actually available on the Instagram, on the link tree. It's called hold on, what is this? It's called ChristianiTEA. And it was all the songs that I played in season 1, and I've added some more songs for season 2. So if you're interested, go over to our Instagram and click on the link tree, and it'll bring you to Spotify. So, as I said before, this episode is all about breaking down and understanding what it means to be a young Christian woman and using God's word to help kind of protect and guide yourself in this world. So, I also called this episode the Proverbs 31 Woman because this verse has been so popular, especially on social media. And I feel like, of course, every guy claims that they need a Proverbs 31 woman, but they don't know how to attract that because you're not being a godly man. So if you want a Proverbs 31 woman, it's time to step up and level up. For those who don't know what this verse means, it's okay. I have a summary of the verse for you. So the Proverbs 31 woman is not concerned with what seems right according to the world. Instead, she focuses on God's trust. Her biggest desire is to honor God and to work for God and not for man, because she knows that her reward comes from God and God alone. She's a woman who is naturally virtuous and of noble character. Okay, so she's just the all-around godly woman. Whatever people in this earth have to say about her, she doesn't care. She doesn't pay attention to it, because we're not trying to impress worldly people. We're trying to impress God and live for God and work for God and show our love for him, and magnify his glory through ourselves. So yeah, I feel like, what are your guys' understanding of being a Proverbs 31 woman? Like, what does it mean to you?
To me, being a Proverbs 31 is mostly your character, the character that you're coming with. Because often, the world describes a woman as, her appearance and, how she looks, how she's dressing and whatever. But being a Proverbs 31, you see the opposite of that. You get to understand that it's more than that. It's more of your character, how you carry yourself, the peace you have with you, and just, how you're basically showing the glory of God, through you. When people see you, they see peace, they see, okay, it's giving
I love
a
that.
woman of God.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. The way I always, because Proverbs 31 to me was the verse that kind of got me back into my faith.
Okay.
And so I came in with a lot of those, I need to be a Proverbs 31 woman, 31 whatever. And I always thought it reflected in my mom and the women at my church, but not even that, people from different religions even, just emulating a just complete trust in their creator. And then knowing just no matter what happens, he's got me, or they got me. And
Amen.
Yeah. And then also just having immense self-respect, because I feel like a lot of the time people talk about Proverbs 31, it's what you can do for other people, but it's also remembering how much you can give to yourself before you give to others.
Big one. And I feel like, especially now, something that's so important is having a high self-esteem. And that is something that I feel like all of us young women have had to struggle with in a way, and find the balance between that. Especially myself, in elementary school and in the beginning of high school, I felt like I didn't really know who I was. And it's normal, because we're young and we're growing and we're trying to find ourselves. But I feel like for me, when I didn't have my focus on God, I was looking at other things and relying on other factors to determine my self-worth. I went to pretty much primarily all white elementary and high school. And I was always why does no boy have a crush on me? And they would have a crush on someone that's so opposite of you. It's little stupid things like that. Or, why do these girls hang out and I don't feel so much so accepted by them and stuff like that. And I was just, again, relying on other factors, other people, for how much worth I gave to myself. And I feel like that changed halfway through high school, when I realized these people are not even going to know me after high school. So why do I care what they think? And that's when I really started to although I was still a baby in my journey with my faith and I didn't really know where I was going yet, I knew that these people and whatever they think and whatever perception they have of me means nothing, right?
Nothing at all. So
I feel self-esteem, self-worth, it comes with focusing in on your faith, I think, because God tells us how much we are worth to him. And we know that for how much he shows up for us every single day. When other people don't, guess who's going to be there?
He's there.
God.
There's this song by Lauryn Hill called Nothing Even Matters. And someone in the comments was if you take it as a worship song, that and then when you put it into that perspective, nothing even matters when you think somebody's looking out for you. Completely changed my perspective on it.
Okay, we're gonna play that song later.
Yeah,
that is so good. I actually really love that. I'm gonna cue that up so we can play it later, because it's true. And I've seen actually on TikTok there's been a couple different songs where it's if you look at it from a worship perspective and a praise perspective, it's so beautiful. There's this Mariah the Scientist song where I forget the name of it now, but if you listen to it in that way. It's a beautiful praise song.
There's also
Yeah.
Everything by Kehlani.
Okay.
That one's like the verse is like babies to everything for me, and it's just talking about like praise. And I heard a gospel choir sing it one time with the harmonies and everything, and I didn't even think of it from that perspective, because I always thought of it as a lover, and I'm like, well, there's a different kind of love there too.
Oh my gosh. There's a different kind of love there. That's so real. Like, I feel like let's take a second away from like the always romantic relationships, even from the platonic like relationships. There's a greater love that is there, that is waiting for you, and it will still be there when you're ready. God is there for you, and he's just waiting for you to step into that level and show him. And that's beautiful. And that's even with Lauryn Hill's I Gotta Find Peace of Mind. So I was going through a really hard time at one point in high school, and that was my song that like I played like religiously. And I looked at it from the praise perspective, and I'm like, wow. Because her lyrics are like, he takes all my energy.
Trapped in my memories.
Come on, trapped in my memories. And it's like, yes, things of this world, people of this world, they can be energy vampires, because you allow yourself to give so much to these other things. But God is there ready to give you that peace. I love it. We're gonna play some Lauryn Hill today. We'll make it a mission to play. But kind of like branching off into that, what do you guys think of the beauty standards that are set on women by people of this world? Whether it be like over-sexualizing yourself, modesty, like, what are you guys feeling?
You want to? Oh, I was going to say you.
I mean, beauty standards, at least for women, it's more so on the sexual side. It's more so on the physical side. Like, your hair always has to be done. Your,
30-inch bust down.
30-inch bust
always.
down. You know, like, you should, it's always about that. And then for men, it's always like, I don't know, waves, hair, like good haircuts, this, and the third, products. Like, it's just a lot of materialistic things that, people look at often.
I agree.
Yeah. With beauty standards for women, I don't know. I feel like we put so many standards to women, regardless of the age. You could be literally like 8 years old and people are already saying things about you. True. I remember like when I was little, I had people complaining about the hair on my arms. As an 8-year-old, are you kidding me? And then going from that, and then even having elderly women, where I feel like women are put at standards from such a young age, and then men only get that maybe like going into high school, going into middle school.
Yeah. I remember being in elementary school and wanting to like wax my arms, because my arms used to be so hairy. And it was just always something. And yeah, I feel like when it comes to women, it's constantly being over sexualized. And I hate that, because it's always a standard that's placed on young and impressionable women. Like in high school, I thought the same thing. I thought I had to wear certain things and show a certain amount of skin to be like attractive.
You get
baddie.
You get like the memo or thing, like you're supposed to show this much, but if you show here, you're not supposed to show there. And it's like, what kind of rule book are we following here?
Exactly. And especially for me, like, I'm very vocal about, like, I had a breast reduction as well. And before I had that done, like, I was always so over-sexualized by, like, grown adults, like, grown men. And it's like, I literally can't control this. Like, and I used to feel so self-conscious and like wearing certain things because I'm like, it's a normal top, but it's not looked at as normal on me.
I can relate to that because I know that sometimes, because like growing up, I was, a bit more like mature than other people. And it was one of those where it's like, to me as an innocent little girl, I could be wearing like shorts and a top. But to others, they're like, "Oh,
she's fast."
And it's like,
it must be
like,
nice. I've seen this.
It's so dangerous for young girls because it's like they're innocent, but then other people just like
exactly.
It just gets to them.
And then I went through this thing where I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to cover up. Like I have to. And modesty, I didn't look at modesty as like me treating myself with a form of respect. I looked at it like, I don't want to hear what people have
Yeah,
to say,
you're
so I'm just going to
protecting
cover
yourself.
myself up.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't have to wear long sleeves and hoodies in the summertime because my body is developed.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it would always be stuff like that. And I find it upsetting because I'm not obviously I'm not a man, but like I don't have any men in here to attest to this, but like I feel like men do not go through the same thing in the slightest,
sure.
you know. And I feel like sometimes I see the perspective of like in this kind of discussion, men will counter with like, oh well, we have to be like 6 feet to impress anybody. But it's not the same.
Because when you're 6 foot, it's like, okay, but are you being sexualized?
Yeah,
No.
Yes.
exactly.
You're not feeling uncomfortable when you're short. You're not feeling like you have to cover yourself and hide yourself.
Yeah.
It's
You don't
different.
feel uncomfortable walking into like a coffee shop.
Exactly.
Like, I don't need, like, I have to worry about wearing so many layers when I go out. You don't have to think about that. And
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like they don't think, yeah, obviously height's something. But I feel like that comes to like your talk on type, not
Yeah.
really like
Yeah.
when you're just
That's
staring
true.
at people. Staring
Exactly.
at people.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And like you said, like you can go about your normal everyday life and like not feel any kind of thing if you're whether or not you're 6 feet. Like, do you know what I mean? For you just being who you are, no one's gonna over sexualize you and say these things about you or your body. And that's not to discredit any like self-image issues that men have, because men go through those things too,
100%.
right? Like those things are completely valid. But if we're looking at the talk of being over-sexualized and having these certain physical standards being placed on you, it's not the same at all.
It's not.
Yeah, so it's a whole thing. And I think even within like the music industry and the entertainment industry, being a baddie is like everyone's top priority, you know, having your nails done all the time, your body being shaped a certain way.
Can we talk about that?
Let's get into it.
There's so many artists I know like that aren't considered mainstream. They may have incredibly successful hits, but they rarely make music videos because everyone's like, oh, she looks a certain way. Like Yeba, she was on Drake's album for Yeba's Heartbreak, but she rarely posts on social. Like she just recently got back into posting. But I remember hearing stuff about like, oh yeah, she's like a white girl who sings like really whatever,
Yeah.
and then she's like too big or whatever, and
Yeah.
it was just why
It's always
what about her
something.
voice?
Yeah.
What about how good her voice is?
Yeah, it's almost as if the way you look, the way your body is, what you wear determines, you know, your outcome. You know,
Exactly.
which is very, very sad.
It's so sad. And I feel like, there's definitely also external factors, like who knows what they're doing to get to their fame and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, women that don't fit that body standard or that look or that complexion standard that there is, it's like their music and their talents aren't going to get projected as high as those who do match it. And it's unfair. And I feel like we need to do our part in like breaking that stigma, you know, and continuing to push out the artists and like people in the entertainment industry that are just as deserving of that place. Like, not for nothing, but I mean, are we really gonna compare Ice Spice to another like female rapper that's even better? Like, do you know what I mean?
Like Lil Kim.
All this,
Is Lil Kim?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to. That's speaking on me. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like let's go between Flo Milli and Ice Spice. Like, I'm not trying to pit any divide, but if we're looking at it from this perspective of the standards placed on women, Flo Milli has been in the game longer.
Yeah.
Her lyricism is on a different level.
100%.
But her stuff does not get pushed out nearly.
Yes.
She had to make Never Wanna Lose
Lose
Me,
Me.
which is fire.
Yes.
Still play it to this day. But she had to make that, and then I feel like people started giving her some more attention.
Because used to be, it was like this thing of, oh, she's like a TikTok rapper or whatever. And then I think it was just like colorism at its finest when it came down to it. Because she did not get posted as much as Glorilla and Ice Spice, especially those two that came around TikTok. Around then.
I agree. And yeah, it's a crazy thing. I mean, we can talk about that for ages, but like, it's something that I want like listeners to think about too, right? Like, we also have the power and the influence to push out the right people and the people that are deserving of just as much talk and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Speaking on this, like the whole modesty thing, for me, we were talking about this outside of the studio. And it's like, yeah, before, modesty for me, I didn't really get it. I felt like, why should I have to cover myself up for God if God loves me? Or, you know, like to feel any self-worth. Like, I have self-worth.
Yeah.
Why do I have to cover up myself to prove it? But it's interesting because we're going to get into a verse in a couple minutes that dives deeper into this. But I feel like we need to look at modesty from the correct lens and not in a negative way of like, you need to cover up. Modesty can be a beautiful thing, and it can be something where it's like you try out a different style, you try out a new way of dressing and see how that makes you feel. And how that directs your journey with faith and stuff like that. So what are you guys thinking? What are your general thoughts on modesty itself? And then we'll get into the other perspectives.
So modesty, I mean, if you want to look at it from, you know, why should I dress up? Why should I do this? I think, you know, it's not a good point of view. You should look at it deeper. You should look at it as a true Christian, which is like the repercussion of it. Because if you're dressing up because you want to be, let's say, sexy, right? It's like you're doing it to please men or women, whoever. And it's like, we're not on this earth to please men or women. We're
100%.
we're on this earth to please God. And as soon as you please other people, it's like you're making them your God. That's one.
Oh,
and then
get into it.
And then two, it's like you are, when you just saying, oh, I'm looking sexy today, it's like you're already in that realm where it's like you're calling for sexual thoughts and like lust, and you're eventually going to lead someone into temptation. And that's not good for you, because people think I'm just dressed up, but it's like you're leading other people into sinning. It doesn't make you any, you know, it doesn't make you any better, especially if you know that, you know, that's your goal. You know that that's your objective. And at the end of the day, your body is a temple of God, and you should just like embrace it. You should try. And the thing is too, when we say modesty, we don't say cover up from head to toe.
Exactly.
It's, you know, you can just, if you're wearing a crop top or whatever, you add a little, you know, blazer or whatever to make it more, just cover up a little bit more. And I think people just look at it in a bad view just because they're not used to it. But once you get used to it, and once you see that, like, you could be fly and be modest, like, it's just that you have to get used to it. We're used to, you know, the opposite. That's why it's viewed as so badly. But, you know, there's beauty to it. There's definitely beauty to it.
I get that for sure.
With me, I went to a Catholic school all my life, but specifically in high school, there was a predominantly Muslim population at my school, and I knew a lot of girls who wear the hijab or like dress more modestly. And I often, like, because of our religion classes, philosophy, whatever, we would talk about it, and I would ask them what modesty meant to them. And to them, from what I understand, it was more like it was their God, like, because technically it's the same God because they're from the Abrahamic religions, but whatchamacallit, it would be their it's their God's protection of them. Their God loves them so much that they know that other people are going to be tempted. This is their protection. This is their armor. No, not like armor, but and I don't personally relate to that. I kind of see it in the more modesty means being like put together. Like, I feel like when you are modest, it's like you seem like you got your stuff together. Anyone I see who has like anyone I see at church or something, doesn't even have to be a woman, someone who just seems like they're on their Zoom, I'm like, that's being modest right there. Like, you have a certain image that you want to project out to the world, and it's a positive one, hopefully.
I like that. I think, it all has to go back to the self-image that you have for yourself. And like Yadija said, you can be modest and still be beautiful and like, you know, be top tier. You can have amazing style. You can wear, in this life, you can wear whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But it's all about how you present yourself, I feel. So, like, take that as you will, you know. Like, we're not saying cover up head to toe. I won't cover up head to toe, so I can't send that message out, because then I would be a hypocrite, right? But I feel like for myself, like within the recent few months, I've been trying out like more modest outfits and more modest styles. I mean, today I'm in like a more fitted clothes. Like my shirt is a little bit cropped. Like I wear a sweater, whatever. Like it's not every day that you're gonna look a certain way and be 100% modest in whatever way that means to you.
Yeah.
But try out different things and see how it makes you feel, and I feel like go from there.
I feel like your faith, modesty is a journey as well.
Yeah.
100%.
And then, like you were saying, it like some days you feel like a bit off of it, but I don't think you should beat yourself up if you feel like I want to go out with my friends today and I want to wear something a little
Yeah.
tight. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I love that. Let's talk about. It's so hard to talk about things from a male perspective because there's no men here. But I don't want to leave men out of the conversation. Modesty in terms of men. Should men also be modest? And if so, how do they become modest? I feel like we had said a couple minutes ago, the standards placed on women are nowhere near the same placed on men. So for women, modesty, like we've been saying, is like, yeah, try wearing something like this, covering up a bit more maybe. It's in the way you carry yourself. But for guys, I feel like they kind of have the easy way out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just
I don't know.
modest.
I
don't know. It may be.
I feel like
We're-
based on my way of thinking about it as image, definitely paying more attention to that. Especially people in our generation. I feel like just maybe some thoughts are inside thoughts.
Oh, so modesty in terms of the way, like, you speak,
Yes.
the things you say.
Yeah, just being mindful and respectful of everyone.
Yeah.
I think like when with modesty, we think of it as just being the physical. But if we think about everything, like the word, like any gospels, anything, if we think about that as just being one facet, then we're not really taking it the way it was supposed to be made.
That's beautiful. I think that's so true. And I feel like we've all been in the situation where we've been around guys. Girls do this too, but we've been around guys and like they'll be with their friends and you hear the things they're talking about and it's
About
like,
you sometimes too.
right. And it's like, are you sure you meant to say that out
Yeah.
loud? Like, it's so real. I feel like it goes hand in hand with how you carry yourself and present yourself. And I think if any men are watching and listening and looking for a way to improve their own modesty in their journey with Christ, it's like, just be mindful of all aspects in what you say, who you say it to, the things that you share. Not everything is meant to be said out loud.
Yeah.
I had to learn that too. Some things you can keep to yourself. Go get a journal. I say this every episode.
Come on.
Write it down. But yeah, before we get into our next segment, I want to talk about the verse 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 9 to 10. This is in the ERV translation. I'm going to read it out really quickly. It tends to be on the controversial end, but I feel like we're going to debunk that today. So it says, I want women to make themselves attractive in the right way. Their clothes should be seen as sensible and appropriate. They should not draw attention to themselves with fancy hairstyles or gold jewelry or pearls or expensive clothes, but they should make themselves attractive by the good things they do. So I can see why it's can be controversial because if you look at it out of context, you would think God is saying, don't look nice, don't wear jewelry, don't wear expensive clothes, don't do your hair. It's not really what it means. And I want us to debunk that and give people a fresh perspective to look from. So what do we think?
I think what he meant by that is more so, don't focus on the appearance. Don't focus on doing extra things because that's not what God looks for. God looks for what comes from within. He looks for, the quiet spirit that you bring, like the peace, and just, more so your character, your godly character rather than hairstyles or whatever. Because some people tend to be like, okay, I'm Christian, but then it's like they focus so much on their appearance and then it's like, what is your personality saying? What is your character? Like, you have a nasty character. It's not what God is seeking for. He's not looking for that, So it's like, I think it's more so just to make people know that outside does not matter.
Yeah.
It's what's inside.
And the outside is not coming with you after this life.
It's staying right here on the floor.
Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
With me, I think a few of the translations I've seen of the gospel for that reading, I always heard instead of appropriate, it was modest specifically being said. And from my upbringing, I was always taught to read the Bible with context, search it up, because so many things get lost in translation. Yeah. So the Bible, for those of you who don't know, was like originally written, I believe, in Greek, Aramaic, and I'm blanking on the Hebrew. And I was just looking at it from one perspective. In Greek, the root word of modest, appropriate, and a lot of those kind of synonym words is kosmios. Kosmios. And it means modest, yes, but it also means to be in order, to be carry yourself well. And I always took it as like, well, yeah, you can have all these things. You can be this person with jewelry, but don't make like jewelry, good hair, whatever. But don't make that the last
your everything.
Thing. Yes.
Yeah, and that goes hand in hand with like idolization, right? We and I was watching this YouTube, like this podcast. I might shout it. I might go more in depth on this next week, but it was titled "The Season of Obedience."
I think I saw.
You know what I'm talking? I feel like you know.
Yeah.
And basically, the woman was saying like she's a speaker, like a motivational speaker, and she began to view her motivational speaking and the things she was accomplishing with that as her idol, as her God. And because of that, God paused her for a second and said, like, all of this can be gone in an instant. Yeah. Because you're idolizing something that is not your God, right? And so, yeah, I feel like this verse is going hand in hand with that. It's like, let's try to not idolize worship and make a God out of something that is not coming with us after this.
Exactly.
I love that. I feel like we've done a good job debunking this.
Yeah.
So the main story is contextualization. Please don't just read a verse and have a certain biased perspective on it. Read the chapter. Do your research on it. You'll find that a lot of themes in the Bible go back and forth between many books. Yeah. So look into it a bit deeper before you make that conclusion. Before our last segment, I'm going to play Nothing Even Matters because we have to. We've talked about it. We have to. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
Yeah, that was very good.
Skies could fall, not even if my boss should call. The world, it seems so very small, 'cause nothing even matters at all. Seems nothing even matters. Seems nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters at all.
Your love makes me feel 10 feet tall. Without it I go through withdrawal. 'Cause nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing
These buildings could drift out to sea. Some natural catastrophe. Still there's no place I'd rather be. 'Cause nothing even matters to me. Seem nothing even matters. Seem nothing even matters to me. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters
my
to
identity.
me.
I sometimes have a tendency look at you religiously, baby. Cause nothing even matters to me. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters to me. Said it don't, baby, baby.
Now you won't find me at no store. I have no time for manicures. With you it's never either. Cause nothing even matters no more. See nothing, it don't matter. See nothing even matters no more. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters
Now
no
my
more.
fingers go and make it to the final fall. Just repossess my.
So we are back. I had to end it early. The song is so beautiful. If you're watching, listen to Nothing Even Matters after the episode, okay? And listen to it from the faith-based perspective. But we have 5 minutes left, so I want to end us off with our tea party segment. So this is like a Q&A session that we do. Today's question, and this is all questions submitted by people following the Instagram earlier on in the season. So we're answering your questions, guys. This question says, what is your advice on how to not get wrapped up by things of this world and worldly behavior? So I feel like this is important. I feel like I had the same question, and I still do have this question with my journey. Because I feel like a lot of times I am on like a roller coaster with my journey, and it's like sometimes I'm super high, sometimes I'm super low. And in those periods when I'm like feeling lower in my journey, I feel like I'm falling into worldly behavior again, whether it's sin or temptations or idolization. So I feel like my advice for this, and something that I try to follow myself, is to like do a whole reset. Take a day and do a reset for yourself. And this can look like shutting off all distractions, like your phone, and whatever you have, taking the day off from school or from work, and like staying home to regroup yourself. Because I feel like humans in this world, we become so busy all the time as well. We're so wrapped up in deadlines and assignments and due dates and stuff like that, even with work, that we lose ourselves. Because we're trying to always accomplish something and get something done. So taking a day for yourself and regrouping and opening up your Bible and just like spending some time with God, or you know, like if you don't have the strength to do that, even just writing down how you're feeling. I'm a huge advocate for like journaling and getting that out on a piece of paper. That way, whatever you're feeling doesn't have to weigh yourself down, right? So what do you guys think? What do you guys do?
I mean, I can relate with the whole thing about, you know, getting, you know, with the ups and downs and stuff like that, which I think is normal when you're, you know, when you're a Christian, whatever. But what you have to remember is just that, like, you have to, like you said, pause.
Right.
You have to pause and just recenter. You see that you're going, you know, you're going to hang out with people who you know you shouldn't be. Just pause. Maybe spend more time in like reading the Bible, or you know, more prayer, or even worship songs, or you know, like praising songs. Anything that is Christian related. Once you just put that back in your life during that moment where you feel like it's chaotic, you're going to feel like a sense of reminder that, okay, I have to wake up, I have to pause, I have to, you know, reconsider, what am I doing? Where am I going? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? No. And then you know, you just recenter. So I think,
I love
that's what I would do.
For me, I've always been like a very creative person, and I feel like, for me at least, and for other people I've talked to, creativity is the closest thing to divinity. I can't even pronounce that, but like I feel like for humans, that's the closest. Like creatives are the people that like bring us closer to God, and they like they just can tap into whatever. And I think whenever I'm feeling at my lowest as a creative or with my relationship with God, what I usually do, I can do something basic. I'll literally just doodle in my sketchbook, and I don't know why, but I think it's because it's so low effort. Like, it just makes my mind just calm down. Doing something like that, drawing, writing, whatever, something to get like the creative juices flowing, that's always brought me back to my faith.
I love that. So I feel like we've done so much this episode. We've debunked controversial verses. We've given you guys the advice that we use for ourselves, and that hopefully you can take and implement into your own lives. And we've celebrated what it means to be a godly woman. So I feel really proud and really happy with the way this turned out. I'm so thankful to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us.
Always. And I have Jada doing the lovely cameras. Always going to shout Jada out. My name is Selena, and that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening in with me, and keep spilling all your tea on the ChristianiTEA Instagram. I've also started a TikTok page for the show, which is super cool. It's also at ChristianiTEA. Don't forget to check out all the recorded episodes on my YouTube channel. Episode 1 has been uploaded to YouTube in case you missed out. This episode will be uploaded later in the week. And yeah, I'm so grateful for you guys. We're going to end off with a little song and get you ready for the next show. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Knock, knock, it's me again. Ring, ring, are you opening? Peeping through the door, you turn away. As you step by step, my heart breaks. Yeah, come and tell me what's the problem. Pasa, pasa, stop the drama.